Attributes of square root functions. Today we are going to be looking at both the x and y intercepts, and if I restrict the domain over a certain region, find the max and min. We have already discussed having a domain and range and how you calculate those yesterday. That's also going to be a part of the assignment today. But let's go ahead and start with this first one. And so let's look at how will this look when we graph it. So let's do a quick sketch, because this is good in determining whether you're going to have an x and y intercept. So this is going to open up and to the right like this. So let's find our vertex. It is at -1, -2. So that means when I open up and to the right, I am going to cross through the x and the y axis. Not always do you cross through both, and so make sure that you are, before you start trying to find the x-intercept and y-intercept, make sure that you are going to have one for this graph. And so in this case we are. And so looking at our x-intercept is when the y value is 0 and the x value was a number. And so that means we're looking to try to find out what would make this 0. If I have some number plus 1, take the square root of that, minus 2. So what number could I take the square root of and get 2? Well, that would be 4. So I need x plus 1 to equal 4. Because if I took the square root of 4, I would end up at 2. And when I subtract the 1, x is equal to 3. So my x-intercept is 3, 0. Now we're going to find our y-intercept very similarly. So y-intercept is when, well actually, y-intercept is a lot easier, excuse me. It's not very similarly, it's just a different one. And so the y-intercept, we have some number, 0, some number. So that means our x value is 0. So all I have to do when I'm finding the y-intercept is replace the x with 0 and solve. So the square root of 1, because 0 plus 1 is 1, minus 2. Square root of 1 is 1. 1 minus 2 is -2. So my y-intercept is at 0, -2, not -2, -1. 0, -1. And so now we're going to find our max and min for the restricted domain. So what that means is I'm only looking at what's happening from 3 until 24. So I need to figure out what's happening at 3 and what's happening at 24, because there's no curves on this graph. And so when I plug in a 3 and when I plug in a 24, those are going to be my high or low values. And so let's plug in, evaluate at each of those locations. So when x is equal to 3, so square root of 3 plus 1 minus 2. Square root of 4 minus 2. So 2 minus 2 is 0. Now I'm going to find the other one. And that is when it's at 24. So the y value is what I'm looking for, when 24 plus 1 is square rooted minus 2. So square root of 25 minus 2. So 5 minus 2 is 3. So my min is here. My max is that value. Let's look at the next graph. So again, we're going to be looking for the x-intercept and y-intercept and the max and min over the restricted domain. So start off with, it's always best to sketch the graph. That way you know what you're looking at. And so let's sketch this graph. And so it's negative, so that means it's opening upside down. So I go ahead and find my vertex, and I know my graph's going to open this way. So vertex is at -2, -4. And so if I'm opening down and to the right, I am going to have a y-intercept, but I'm not crossing the x. So this is one of the times where there is no x-intercept, but the y-intercept is still found the same way. So you're going to have 0, some number. And so y is equal to negative square root of 0 plus 2 minus 4. And so this is one where this is going to become a decimal. Because negative square root of 2 minus 4, I don't know what the square root of 2 is. It's not one I can actually find by hand. And so I can do it with a calculator. And the square root of 2 is 1.414. So negative 1.414 minus 4. And that gives us a negative 5.414 as the y value for my y-intercept. Now, I need to find my max and min. And so if I find my max and min, I'm going to use these two values over here on the side. So I need to find out what's happening at 7 and what's happening at 23. So if I plug in a 7, y is equal to negative square root of 7 plus 2 minus 4. So negative square root of 9 minus 4. So that's negative 3 minus 4. So that's going to be at the value of negative 7. And then we're going to plug in our other one. And so at 23, negative square root of 23 plus 2 minus 4. So negative square root of 25 minus 4. So negative 5 minus 4 is negative 9. So that means negative 7 is our max and negative 9 is our min.